Hey, everybody. It is Let Me See Your Transcript, your very favorite history teacher. How are y'all doing this afternoon? I thought I'd come on here a little bit earlier than usual. And um, I've been discussing with my students, because I not only teach history, I also teach government. And we've been talking about civil trials and criminal trials. And so I've been discussing with my students about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial with them, and so um, I didn't realize like how well that they were going to be really into it, a whole lot more than I thought, and so they have actually also like stimulated some of the questions that I have about the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. So today, right now, they are on. um I guess a break for 45 minutes. Okay. So while they're on the break, I want to do a live, well, I guess kind of a live reaction to Amber's sister testifying. Because the part I did see, the 10 minutes that I did see was interesting, but I want to see it from the beginning. So if you guys, ladies and gentlemen, don't mind going along with me, and then that would be great. Okay. So I'm going to start at the, okay.
With Mr. Depp in the early stages?
We got along really well at first. He was sober at the time, and Johnny, when he's sober, is very bright and beautiful and lovely and kind and generous, and he was very easy to get to know, and frankly, we all fell in love with him at first.
Now, describe your observations of Amber and Mr. Depp's relationship in the early stages.
Again, at first, that was
Okay, sorry. Let me get to this part and I'll show you. Okay, shout out to Fox 5. And let me go ahead and put this on here. And hi. This video is protected under Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act of 1976 for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Okay? This is my reaction to Amber Heard's sister and her testimony. Okay? Hey, everybody. Okay, I'm going to do it. Is this full screen? Y'all see the full screen? Okay, let's go.
wonderful. They were incredibly in love. I actually, to this day, have never seen my sister fall so madly for somebody. And things were wonderful. They seemed to really understand each other and get along well. But
Does it
very
sound
quickly,
good?
this pattern emerged as their relationship went on.
Mhm.
That if Johnny was using, there almost always was a fight. There was always a
Objection, Your Honor. Cause for speculation.
Speculation.
It's the foundation, if you want to like
Okay. What, if any, changes in their relationship did you observe?
Oh, she really did. She really is
that
Amber's
when
sister.
Johnny was using, there would be a fight. I saw it firsthand.
Objection, Your Honor, same objection.
Oh, which fight is this?
Thank you. Please continue.
Hey, Patty Brown.
If he was using or if he was drinking,
Mhm.
there was almost always a fight. There was always an argument. There was always a period where they weren't getting along, and it seemed to oscillate pretty quickly. He would be sober for a little bit and then almost just as quickly fall off the wagon and start to use or drink.
So
and there'd
nobody
be
tell you
some
so
big
you didn't
blowout,
think
and
this
it
was a
seemed to go
leaving?
back and forth pretty frequently. There was never an extended period of time where it was one or the other.
What, if any, changes did you observe in Amber over the period of her relationship with Johnny?
What about Amber?
At first, Amber was Amber. She was
What's that mean?
She was loud, funny. She laughed a lot. She was just this happy, bright, fun-loving thing, always surrounded by friends. And then it was a progression that took over such
But
a
you know
long
what?
period
There
of time,
are
and it was
people,
so
S
slow.
Y, hey, S Y, with
In
low
hindsight,
feelings.
it's like watching
There
a slow
are
motion
people who are
gunshot.
functional
She
drug
suddenly
addicts, just like
stopped
functional
sleeping as much.
alcoholics,
She wasn't
that they can
as
go to
funny.
work
She
and be
wasn't as
fine,
loud. She wasn't as
but
gregarious as she used
off
to be. Cut to the end of their
off
relationship.
work, they a
She
mess.
was so physically unwell. She maybe weighed 100 pounds soaking wet.
There may
She
have
was
been something in
emaciated.
his
She wasn't
contract that said,
sleeping.
hey, you want
She
this
had
job, you
developed a heart
cannot do this,
condition,
this, and
and her
that.
eyes were sunken in. She just looked like
Objection,
two
Your Honor.
different.
Lack of foundation calls for hearsay.
She's giving her observations.
Well, heart condition, I'll sustain as to heart.
Okay, other than the heart condition, please continue.
heart
She
condition?
just, if you were to do a photograph side by side, you would see two very different people. And people that knew her.
Now,
throughout the
personally, I don't think
entirety
he
of
should
their
have married
relationship
her.
told the same
He
thing.
got with her right after his
What, if
14-year
any,
relationship,
observations did
which his
you
last, I thought it was his
make
wife or partner,
about
come on,
Mr.
wife.
Depp's
They had 2 children together.
Mr. Depp
Then he
exhibiting
got with her,
controlling
another
behavior over the
actress.
course of their relationship relating to
So she was
Amber's
rebound
clothing?
and an actress. He's dated actors before.
Objection,
They
Your Honor.
didn't work out.
Meeting.
What, if any, observations did she
Sustain
make
the
They had a
about?
very toxic relationship.
What, if any, observations did you make about Mr. Depp's
If you're having a fight the day that
treatment
you
of Amber
propose to
relating to
her,
clothing?
then maybe you shouldn't be getting married to
At
her.
first,
Or if he's doing
he
cocaine the
would
day of your
do,
wedding,
light jokes,
you shouldn't be
or,
married in bed.
she
I'm
left
just
the house
saying.
wearing something like, oh, you're gonna wear that, or just some joke. It
But
was
I
very
think she went
subtle,
into it like, oh, I'm with Johnny
and
Depp.
then over
he probably
time,
went on to,
again,
oh, I got this
just
little young
like the
thing.
progression of their
And
relationship, it
she was a
just
rebound. He wasn't supposed to
intensified.
marry her.
Then suddenly it's, she's, they have the same stylist. He and I forgot her name.
I think she was
Suddenly they had
being
the same
toxic.
stylist, and he had been
But
essentially controlling what she wore
his
to events and
drugs
things like that. So
and
she went
alcohol
from being
made
able
him
to
toxic too.
wear whatever the hell she wanted,
But I don't
and
think
then
he
suddenly
beat her.
she's wearing anything that his stylist wanted her to wear, or wanted him to wear. And her style over time just got more and more conservative.
What, if any,
Oh, 'cause he wasn't
observations
looking
did
at
you
her?
make about Mr. Depp
Okay, she made a control
with respect to Amber's work?
All right.
That
Hey,
too
hood
was
baby.
one thing at first. He was saying he was protective over the kinds of jobs she was taking. Oh, that's not going to be good for her career. That's not going to be good for
So
this.
you
not
should have
gonna be good
married.
for that.
Got with an actress.
And then suddenly he has a problem with her taking any sort of job or any sort of audition. And then it became every
Because your
time
last
that she
woman was
thought about taking
at
a
home
leave,
with the kids.
it was another fight.
It
He
wasn't
would
working,
often say
see?
things like, I don't even understand why she needs to work. I'll take care of her. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of everyone else. She doesn't need to work at all. It was one of those things that he was, at the end, vehemently against her working at all.
What, if any, observations did you make about Mr. Depp's treatment of Amber with respect to friends?
Again, these are all things that
I
just
don't know
very
how long
slowly
did they
over
know each other
time
before they got
just
married?
changed. At first, he was very inclusive of all of us. At one point, we all lived downtown
That's
together
true,
in these
'cause one of the
beautiful
persons in
lofts.
the,
At first, it was
deposition
that was part of
said
the relationship
since
was,
Amber doesn't have a drug of
getting to know
choice.
him and him getting to know us.
But he did
and then
admit that
just,
she
again,
does drugs.
slowly
I think
over
she's a pill
time,
person.
he took issue with Brandon at one point, and then Brandon wasn't allowed in the fold. Time went on, he had an issue with Io. Io wasn't allowed in the fold anymore. And then at some
go back to
point,
that
even me, he had accused me of
But he said he
doing
did see
something
John.
horrendous that I had never done. And then suddenly I'm not allowed around anymore. And just over time, she had such a small network of people that were there to support her. It was hard to watch.
But was
What, if any,
she blaming
observations
him?
did you
though?
make about Mr. Depp's attitude or treatment of Amber with respect to health, her health?
Amber was she was a pretty healthy person at first. She didn't have any medical issues that didn't need intervention of any sort. But in one of Johnny's attempts to get sober, he had employed Dr. Kipper, who had these nurses, and he had a personal nurse that would administer medication, and
What?
I think the intention was to make sure that he stayed clean and
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
Okay.
Without discussing
That's
what
not
the
my objection.
intentions were, just go ahead and give us what your observations were with respect to Mr. Depp, with respect to Amber's health.
Sure. All of a sudden, for really unclear reasons, Amber had her own personal nurse just administering medication, and
Yeah, I'll need a personal nurse.
from what I saw, it was strange. I didn't think Amber needed, medication on the daily or whatever. And then all of a sudden, she has a therapist that is employed by Dr. Kipper. Even her medical treatment was somehow controlled by or paid for by Johnny.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation with respect to the control. As to control, been paid for, I'll allow. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. What, if anything, did Mr. Depp say about Amber's electronic devices?
Well, every time they fought or had an argument, a device was going to get smashed.
What?
She lost a phone, a tablet, a computer. You could almost guarantee that something would get destroyed when they fought. Very often,
Okay, so they keep saying fought. Are these
fights were
arguments? Are these
in part
physical
surrounded by
fights?
text messages or something that he would find on her phone.
Because I saw,
whatever. And at some
I
point, she wasn't
might,
allowed to
I don't
have
know anything to do with that. This
passwords
video
on her
or
phone.
another video.
Or she did have
I
a
think
password. It
Amber
was something
has
really
been
simple that he
getting her
memorized, but
testimony
there was
from
zero
video,
expectation
from
of
movies.
privacy for her.
Cause she
in
making
terms of what
him
was on
see,
her device or
she making
accessibility of her
Johnny
devices.
sound like he like
How many
he Ike
times
Turner.
did you observe
White
Mr. Depp
version of
drunk?
Ike Turner. I'm just like, okay, I know they both do cocaine, but come on.
Countless. I mean, too many times for me to quantify.
How many times did you observe Mr. Depp high on drugs?
Again, it would be really hard to put a number to that. It was a lot.
And what types of drugs did Mr. Depp use, to your knowledge and your
I
observation?
really would like to know what the hell he's thinking.
Well, I've done cocaine and drank with him on
Oh
a number
damn,
of
you did
occasions,
cocaine and
so
drink with him too?
that,
Okay, so
he
y'all
almost
always
always had
y'all always
weed of some
sniffing
sort,
the book of
marijuana,
sugar.
joints or whatever. I have seen him take MDMA on an occasion, shrooms as well. I once saw him consume a Ziploc bag that had a bunch of just unknown pills, some prescription, some not. He just took them all at once to see what would happen, and he laughed about it. Those are what I can recall.
Elvis used to take a whole bunch of pills too.
Now, you said that you also
One
did
time,
cocaine with
Priscilla
Mr. Depp,
got-
is that correct?
Yes.
Got into the pills and got
What,
real,
if any,
real sick.
observations did you make as to what
They should go to
Mr. Depp
hospital.
carried in his pockets?
Well, he always had cigarettes or rolling papers. When I say cigarettes, I mean the tobacco and rolling papers. He always had a joint on him. If he was in a phase of using coke, he would carry around a little pill box that had his cocaine in it. He always had a pocket knife, a lighter, and it's about what I can recall.
So you were okay
What, if
with the
any,
drug as long
behavior
as you got
changes
to
did
have
you
some of
observe
it?
when Mr. Depp had been drinking alcohol or using drugs?
This
Like I said, it was, a completely different version. He was almost unrecognizable when he was drinking and using to an excess. If it was alcohol and coke,
I hope so.
he would slur. He would go on these paranoid, delusional rants about things that didn't make any sense. His speech would be slurred. I almost never knew him to use
Amber
cocaine
coached her
without
sister
drinking. Those were
she
generally
sounded almost
combined.
like Amber, or Amber sounded like her. Either
when
way,
he would smoke weed, he was much more relaxed. He was kind of what you would expect, happy on the couch, laughing. But when he was drinking, he would just get very angry. And he would just say really nasty, unkind things, and it almost didn't. Usually about Amber,
I guess
sometimes
okay, long
about
as he's
me, but it
providing the
almost didn't
drugs
matter if she
and
was
having
in the room or
y'all a
not.
place
He
to
would just
stay.
say
They say he's very generous
really horrible
and
horrible,
helps
horrible
a lot of
things about
people. He has a lot
her or
of
to her.
property, less people.
Can you give the jury a few
Live
examples
there.
that you can recall?
Pardon my language, fucking cunt. He called her a fucking used up trash bag, slimy whore, saggy whore. Fucking cunt was thrown out a bunch. Just horrible things like that.
Not the beeper. That must be
I'm
a
going
white.
to take
Is
you
that a
to
white person
March
thing?
21st,
Hollywood thing?
2013. We've called it the painting or Keith Richards incident. When did you arrive at the Orange
Oh, she
apartment
drinking water too,
on
like her
March
sister.
21st, 2013?
My sister supposed to do it 2 bottles.
It was sometime in the afternoon. I came in and
Keith Richards was Rolling
Orange
Stones. He
was
did a lot of
typically a
things.
very
He survived. He's still
clean
here.
place, but as soon as I walked in, there was smoke in the air. Remember,
You ever notice
it smelled like cigarette
like the
smoke, and there
people who
was
did
smoke in the
drugs
air.
for years
Somebody
and
had been
years and
smoking
years and
inside,
years,
which
and they
was
get
odd
clean,
because
they
Amber
still
and I
here.
don't smoke,
But then
and
like
Johnny
people who
used to
like did
always just go
drugs
outside to smoke.
like for years, and then they got clean,
But
and then
walking
they
a
went
little
back
bit
and
further
did
in,
like
there was
one
like
more hit,
furniture
and then they died.
askew.
You
Going into the
notice that?
kitchen, there was, Johnny was sat at our little breakfast nook table that we had there, and he was wearing glasses. He had, there was cocaine in front of him. There was booze in front of him, journal, like no newspaper, things like that, just kind of scattered around at the table. And I sat down to talk to him to see what was going on. And it was really hard to understand what he was getting at. It was really clear that he had been drinking for some time. His speech was slurred, and
Ain't nobody say,
yeah,
"Hey man,
it was
you want
really hard to
some
follow
meat?"
what he was trying to tell me. At first, he seemed to be upset that my sister had been photographed with our friend Marie in France. He then started saying that it must have meant that she was having an affair with her, and everyone would be laughing at her. And this woman, her father was a French politician, so he then starts rambling on about, oh, he knows what
So he's
her
insecure.
father's up to, and her
You
this,
marry
that,
a
and the
young
other.
woman,
And
actress.
again, it was just this strange paranoid tailspin is the only way I can describe it. That just, it wasn't true. My sister wasn't having an affair with this person.
Objection, Your Honor. I think it's pretty non-responsive at this point.
This person
All
was
right,
okay
next
at all.
question.
She should say at
Please
all.
describe what your conversations were and your
Not this
observations were
person.
with Mr. Depp.
So as I'm sitting there talking to him, Amber is in the kitchen, and she's not sat at the table or anything. She's kind of hanging back, and Johnny's still talking to me about what the problem was. And then all of a sudden the focus shifts to this painting that has been on the wall ever since Amber and I moved in. And the painting was done by one of my sister's exes. So he was convinced that it was on the wall to taunt him, to tease him, and how disrespectful.
I could
that
see
he had
her
to wake
doing
up
that,
next to
though.
this painting, and it surely meant that Amber and Tasha were back together again, which
the heck is
of course
that?
was not true.
Oh, I think Tasha's a woman.
But he was then upset about that. He was upset about this painting that was on the wall.
But I thought they said James Franco told her to buy it.
I was trying to talk to him, not only to just try to figure out what was going on, but I was trying to
want
get
them to
him out of
see
the house
James
because he was
Franco
already very
Moss
late
And
for
all those people that go-
filming this documentary that was being shot at one of his houses.
Was that with Keith Richards?
Correct.
Okay,
That was my understanding of it.
please continue.
He really did.
So for hours we sat there. I was trying to,
He really
talk
did.
to him, make him
They
feel
were
like
willing to
everything
go
was
along
okay,
with
just
his
try to
behavior
get
as long
him
as
out
they
of the
had a
house.
place to stay.
His assistant kept coming in and out at one point. And all the while, Amber is just in the kitchen. She's like giving us space, but she's in earshot, and he's saying these things about her. And at
Oh,
one
so she
point,
was
she
being
tries to come
passive
over
aggressive?
to like check on him, and she kind of
Why is your
embraces
sister
him,
doing all
embraces
this
him
stuff?
from behind, and he's just like, fuck off, and continues to say these things about her. And again, we sat there forever, and eventually we did get him to leave the house. So
To go where?
but he insisted that Amber come too, and that if they were going to work it out, she'd have to be there, and they would
Mhm.
talk about it at some other point, I guess.
Let me just
What about
stop you for a minute.
counseling?
What, if
I
any,
guess not.
injuries did you observe on Amber at that time?
At the time, it was before I had a real understanding of what was going on. It was pretty, I didn't know, frankly. And her face was swollen, but I didn't, and it was kind of red. I thought she had just been crying. And her lip did appear to be cut. But again, that at the time, that wasn't what we were
Appeared to
trying to
be?
do. It wouldn't have been appropriate to, talk to her about it or anything. That wasn't my focus, frankly. My focus was just sitting there trying to figure out what he was upset about and get him out of the house.
So how long were you at Orange with Mr. Depp and Amber before he left to go to the Keith Richards?
A few hours. I couldn't say maybe around like 4 or 5 hours. It took a minute.
Now, did you accompany Mr. Depp over to the recording, or did you stay?
I did.
And did Amber go too?
Correct. That was part of the condition of him leaving, is that Amber had to go with us.
All right. Well, please describe to the jury what happened next then on your ride over there.
So Amber and Johnny were sitting in the back. I was in the front with Sterling, the driver, and they weren't saying much back there. There was music playing pretty loudly, so I couldn't really hear what was going on back there. But at some point I heard the back door open, or the back window open, and Johnny is holding our dog out the window.
Oh.
And I froze. I was scared because I just remember thinking, I knew how inebriated he was, and the dog was very small. I thought if she
Which dog was it? Because your sister said the same thing too. Then there's a video I heard with the dog in the window.
Of course, was just saying,
Objection, Your Honor.
Not after you prove the truth of the matter asserted, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Don't say what Amber said. Just go ahead and continue with your observations.
He brought the dog back into the car, and he was just laughing. This really scary,
See,
loud.
I got an inebriated, cocaine, alcoholic man into a car with some dogs.
He then made some joke
and
about
nobody
putting her in the
thought,
microwave.
don't let him next
That
to the
was
dogs.
The joke after that was putting the dog
Ain't
in the
nobody
microwave.
could have sit the dogs.
So
Okay, thank you, S.Y. for
during
coming.
the year 2013, what, if any, marks did you observe on Amber? Any injuries or signs of markings, anything like that?
Occasionally I'd see bruising, cut lips, split lips, weird marks, burns, or I don't know, on her arm, scratches on her arm, things like that. It was just weird, and it was periodic. It wasn't like a constant thing, but there were injuries to her.
And what, if anything, did you do? Did you ask her about them?
I did at some point confront her and ask her, and she.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
Don't tell
Sustain
us.
the objection.
Okay.
Next question.
Okay. But you did ask her about them.
Yes.
Objection,
Okay.
Your Honor. Same objection. Next question.
That's
fine.
That's okay.
Overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Wait, is this
All
her
right, I'm
former
going to
friend
take you
or her
to June
sister?
2013 Hicksville. Were you in attendance at that event with Mr. Depp and Amber?
Yes.
Please describe for the jury what you can recall from that event.
So Hicksville is like this, it's this like collection of themed Airstreams. It's like a little, it's in the middle of the desert. It's just like a fun little place to go. So we went with a group of our friends. And yeah, so each one of us had our own little Airstream or whatever. So my partner and I at the time, we got there last. So as we're going around checking out the different Airstreams, because again, each one of them had a different theme. So it was kind of fun to see, you know, who was staying in which theme or whatever. I open Amber and Johnny's, and there's cocaine on the table. And I didn't really think much of it.
What
at
is
the time.
it?
I was just like,
Not
all right,
cocaine
fine.
on the damn
We're all here to
table.
have fun.
Y'all got this stuff on like candy in a dish.
And that night, you know, we sat around the campfire. Everyone was drinking. Some people were taking shrooms.
Do the dealers just drop it off?
And then I drank too much, and I went to bed early before everyone else.
Mm.
And then the next day, you know, when everyone was cleaning up, I had heard about something that had happened the night before, and an altercation that.
Objection, Your Honor.
You heard.
Don't
Okay,
tell
but
us
you
what
wasn't there.
heard. Go
How
ahead
many
and
of these
tell the jury
incidents
what
was you
observed.
had?
I observed people cleaning up after what appeared to be just a night of friends hanging out. I then went to my sister's trailer, where she was staying with Johnny, and it looked like a bomb went off in there. There was broken things, things had been skewed. It just looked incredibly messy. It looked like somebody had ransacked it. That's what I observed.
Okay. Now I'm going to take you to September 2013. What, if anything, did you do with Mr. Depp relating to going to London?
So September 2013, that was around the time of my birthday. Amber was filming in London, and she wasn't able to make it back for my birthday. And it was also a friend
Where's
of
her
ours,
manager? Does she have a
Aya,
manager?
also has a
I
birthday
don't
at
know,
the same time,
like the time
or
of
around
her
the same
getting all
time
these
as
gigs.
me. And Johnny thought it would be great to load up and surprise Amber on set. He thought she would really enjoy it, and so that's what we did. We loaded up, we went on a plane that he chartered, and I believe my father was with us as well. And
The father
yeah,
who
Johnny
also
and I
likes to do cocaine.
drank
Okay,
and did a
everybody
lot of
does.
cocaine on that plane, and I ended up passing out. But we get to London, and we had it was wonderful
Who was
to see Amber,
sober?
and we
Was
had a
anybody
dinner
ever
that night
sober?
at the hotel that we were staying at, or it was either that night or the next night. I can't remember exactly, but at one point, Johnny picked up a steak knife and he hurled it at his assistant. Missed him, but obviously Nathan got upset and he
Damn,
left,
Johnny,
and he was upset as well. And I
was he high? Was he drinking? Or was he mad?
a fight broke out between Amber and Johnny that night. I didn't witness it. I wasn't there. I knew that they
Objection,
were.
Your Honor, lack of foundation.
Oh, so
Sustain the
you
objection.
weren't there.
So you can't tell us about it if you weren't there. So
Okay.
what happened next that you were aware of?
I left sometime after that, and when I touched down in Los Angeles, I learned that they had
Objection, Your Honor.
I
You're
learned.
not going to prove
Okay,
the truth now.
ma'am.
Sustain
What
the
did you
objection.
know?
Next question.
What do you know, ma'am?
When did they get engaged?
They got engaged at some point when I was on the plane. I left London. By the time I
The
landed in
same
London,
one where
they
he
were
got the
engaged.
cocaine. So nobody thought, oh,
Now I'm going to jump
the
all the way
cocaine
to November
man was proposed to my
2014.
sister.
The
And y'all was
2014
okay with it because we
Hollywood
like,
Film
oh, we get coke on
Awards.
live now. What
What
is wrong
any
with
involvement
y'all?
did you have with Mr. Depp relating to the Hollywood
No, I
Film
do blame
Awards?
Johnny for something because you picked
I
her.
was called
She
over
was rebound.
to
She was
where
an
he was
actress.
getting ready.
And
80.
you've been down that road before.
And when you say
You should have
80,
been
are
in
we talking
counseling
about
and a
suites here?
rehab.
Yes, that's one of the houses that is on that street that Johnny had. He had several houses on that street. 80 was the one that he referred to as like the man cave. That's where he spent a lot of time. So I was summoned to 80, again, following a fight that he and my sister were having. And
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of foundation.
I
Just go on, just don't talk about what you weren't party to. You got
Okay,
there,
yes.
please tell the
Sustain the
jury,
objection. Go ahead.
okay, please
Okay.
tell the jury what you observed, what happened
Sure.
when you were there.
Sure. When I got there, Johnny was outside and he was very drunk already, and he was continuing to drink. He was again rambling about my sister having affairs with people that it just wasn't true, and just kept saying things. It was, that she doesn't need to work, and he doesn't understand why she continues to take jobs. She must be doing it to insult him or to hurt him, or she's only taking these jobs because she wants to meet people. I don't know. The entire time that we were talking, his sister and his assistants at one point, everyone was trying to get him out of the house because he was already very late for this. But eventually they did get him to leave the house. And I saw the award show later at some point.
And what did you observe when you watched the award show?
Unfortunately, an extension of what I had seen at the house. He was still very drunk, actually a little bit more drunk than when I
This
saw
was
him
at
at
the
the
award
house.
show. What award show is
And what was
this?
he doing that caused you to believe he was very drunk?
Well, he was drinking the entire time that we were talking. And, in general, at this
You were
point,
talking
I
to
had
an
understood what
inebriated
Johnny
man?
looks like when he's drunk. He's stammering. His speech was hard to understand. He was slurring. He was super unsteady on
What
his
award show is
feet.
this, y'all? We need to find out. I need to find our award show.
I recognize what he looks like when he's drunk.
Okay. Now I'm going to take you to March 23rd, 2015.
Sorry, that's my
And
reminder.
at this time, were you living at the penthouse suite?
I was.
Okay.
Excuse me. Sorry.
When approximately did you move into the penthouse suite?
Oh wait,
Uh,
you.
ooh.
think this summer.
I actually don't know for sure when I moved in. I would take me a minute to remember. It was sometime in 2000,
Mm.
I don't know, 14, I think.
Okay. And
So
so
you-
as of March 23rd,
See, they
2015,
didn't
you're
care.
living there, correct?
Yes.
And where are you living in those penthouse suites? What is it called?
So I was in what they call PH4. The layout is, the entire top floor of this building. Johnny owns the mall, and he was kind enough to let us all live there. So I was in PH4. Amber and Johnny were in PH3. I believe Isaac was in 2, and Rocky and Josh were in 1.
Who
But
was
the
Rocky
only
and
ones that actually
Josh?
connected were 3, 4, and 5. So again, I was kind
So
of
everybody had a
between
house.
where
You was over
Johnny
there
and
like,
Amber
oh, well, you
stayed
got a penthouse, and
in
you got a
Amber's
penthouse, and you got a
basically
penthouse.
closet. So
So we're
basically, you
gonna
had to
go-
cut through
like-
to get to one point to the other.
Damn, John.
So I was
Any
sleeping.
rehab-
I woke up
That's what I'm saying,
to
rehab.
Amber in my bedroom saying, "Can you believe he's cheating on me?"
Objection, Your Honor.
You're not offered to prove the truth of the
Over-
matter asserted. Thank you.
overruled. Go
Thank you. Please continue.
She said something. She said,
No,
so-
she said overruled. It's okay
Oh.
for you to say what.
"Oh,
just
sorry."
just briefly what you just explained.
I woke up to her saying, "Can you believe he's cheating on me? Your fucking brother is cheating on me." I got up. I told her to stay right there.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
It's not offered to prove the truth of the matter
That's
asserted.
overruled for that statement. Go ahead.
Please continue.
I instructed her to stay in my apartment while I go and talk to Johnny.
Oh my goodness, everybody gotta go
So I
talk to
leave PH4. I leave her in PH4.
And let me just stop. Are you sober, drunk? Have you been drinking?
Oh, rare occasions where I was sober. I was in the middle of the night. I was asleep.
So I'm sorry, I'm not sure that I understood your question. So you were sober?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Please continue.
So I go to PH5 where Johnny, Debbie, and Travis were all standing in the kitchen of PH5. I went down there to talk to him, and again, I can tell he's clearly drunk, and he has a bottle of alcohol of some sort in front of him as well. And again, he's talking to me about how Amber found these text messages between him and a woman called Rochelle. And then he starts saying that this woman was meaningless. There wasn't anything special. She's nothing special.
Damn it,
But then
Johnny, you was
he immediately
cheating.
shifted to, well, Amber pushed me. Amber made me do it. Yeah, of course.
Amber
I'm
made you
cheating
do
on
it,
her,
Johnny.
whatever. And it suddenly became about Amber making him do it.
Then you should have left that girl
At some
alone.
point, then Amber is on the mezzanine level of PH5. So it's kind of hard to explain. So the kitchen's down here and the mezzanine's up here. So she's there. It's her little office nook, and she starts shouting at him, saying,
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
It's not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted, Your Honor. She's screaming expletives at him. I mean, that's not offered to prove the truth. Thank you. Please continue.
they're saying horrible things to one another. Fuck you. He's calling her a fucking whore, fucking cunt. He used up
He showed up to use that word,
They were
don't
saying
he?
horrible things to one another. She was calling him old and fat. It was a fight. They were saying really nasty things to one another. I leave them in the kitchen to go up the stairs. Was trying to calm Amber down, hopefully get her back into my apartment. And Debbie had come up with me.
And Debbie, who's Debbie?
Debbie was his nurse at the
Debbie
time.
Lloyd?
Yes, I believe that was her name.
Okay.
So we're with Amber on the mezzanine level.
I'm sorry, just so we know who we're is. Is it you and Debbie that are with Amber, or is it?
Yes, Debbie, Amber, and I are all in the little mezzanine area. And as I mentioned, the mezzanine overlooks the kitchen and the living room. So Johnny then hurls a Red Bull can and it hits Debbie in the back. She didn't even react. She didn't really seem to notice.
Hey, Joseph from the fundamentals.
But I'm standing up there talking. I'm standing up there. I'm at the top of the stairs with my back to the stairs. And that's when Johnny runs up the stairs. And I'm facing Amber. He comes up behind me, strikes me in the back,
Oh,
kind of just somewhere over here. He strikes me in the back. I hear Amber shout, "Don't hit my fucking sister."
oh, that's
She
okay.
smacks him, lands one, and then he grabs at that point, that's when Travis runs up the stairs after Amber landed one. But by that time, Johnny had already grabbed Amber by the hair with one hand and was whacking her repeatedly in the face with the other as I was standing there. Travis pulls them apart. I get Amber into mine. I close the doors behind me and lock them. I then hear Johnny's voice shouting.
Never mind, withdraw. Okay, sorry.
I hear Johnny's voice shouting, I fucking hate you. I hate you both. You fucking cunts. You fucking whores. And I hear crashing. I hear crashing and banging and smashing, and he starts screaming like an animal. And I then just moved Amber into the next room, and I just kept her there all night. The next day, I go and I see her closet has been completely destroyed.
Okay, so
Racks were overturned.
he has a pattern.
One of
He
the
gets
clothing
drunk, he gets
racks
high,
like tossed down
he's
the stairs. There was
paranoid,
art off
he
the
thinks
wall.
he's cheating on her.
And
grows
down in the
things,
kitchen there was
he-
broken glass. Like,
but-
the place was destroyed.
That's what I'm hearing a lot
Michelle,
of. I'm
can you
not
bring
hearing a
up
lot of like, oh,
Defendant's
he
Exhibit
hit me.
400.
But I think this is the time, I think she said she did hit him, and he hit her.
Whitney, do you recognize this text exchange here?
I do.
Okay, and it's on March 23, 2015 at 6:57, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, could you describe, just
Objection, Your Honor.
identify it, please?
Yep, sorry, on hearsay grounds. All right, you want to approach? I'll just take a look.
This is her sister, Josephine, that's talking. I think Amber is too, but I think Johnny, unfortunately, he picked the wrong woman. She was a rebound after his long-term relationship, and she was an actress. He's dated actresses before he did, was with Vanessa, Vanessa Purdue, who he had 2 kids with. They lived together. I guess like common law. So he went back to what he knew. He went back to dating actresses. And it's like, dude, you shouldn't have dated actresses. And you shouldn't have dated this. And then 2 things. She was an actress, she was a rebound, and she was half your age, sir. You were going through a midlife crisis. You just got a divorce. You thought the little girl was going to help you to be virile and hot, and look what happened. When there's like a sidebar, they don't want them to hear what they saying up there. Johnny. But I do think that she pushed his buttons, and I think her family they did drugs, and Johnny was a way for them to get their drugs and get a place to stay because he was to me I feel like he was a mark. He was a good mark. He was an older man. Hollywood just got a divorce, and he was this pretty young thing. And then here she go, marry him, and now everybody in her family got all the cocaine they want, all the alcohol they want, and a place to stay. That's what it is. Maybe I should have sped this part up. And see, someone just said in the comments, when Johnny married her, he married her freeload of friends too.
So this is.
Hey, money to burn.
Can we publish, Your Honor?
Yes, it's some evidence, yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Whitney, this is dated March 23rd, 2015, 6:57. Do you see that?
Mhm.
Okay, and that's to Kevin. Who's Kevin?
Who's Kevin?
Kevin Murphy, he was Johnny's estate manager.
Okay.
Estate manager, okay.
And then Michelle, if you can scroll up. So let's stop at the first one. Can you please describe?
She is always taking pictures of stuff.
That is one of Amber's clothing racks on the stairs that lead up to the bedroom area.
And you took this picture?
I did.
Oh, she took the picture.
Michelle, can you scroll up again?
Those sisters like to take pictures too.
And please describe for the jury what's depicted in this.
What the heck is this?
These are more of Amber's racks. These were her shoes and purses and such. Those were all like taken off the walls. And you can see.
Oh,
here
so he
all
went
her
in there
clothes on
like
the floor.
Prince in
Shoes.
Purple Rain when he was in the
Okay,
basement and just
thank
started
you.
breaking everything. She needs a drink besides water.
The next one, could you please describe what the next picture depicts?
More of the same.
I noticed today
Clothing
Amber
racks that have
didn't
been
wear a
kind of
suit like
toppled
she has
over or
been.
moved.
I think she's
They were like neat.
she gaslights
Looked like
him
a it's a closet
passively.
room. But
Like
these ones
he'll
were
wear
just
a
toppled
suit
over or
one
moved.
day, and then the
This
next
is the
day
room
she
that
shows him in a
adjoined
similar,
my room.
but it'll be like a woman's suit, but it'll be the same color.
Let's go to the next one.
But today she's all girly
Could
and
you
stuff.
describe for the jury, please,
Probably
what
because the
this is?
sister's up there.
That's another clothing rack that has been taken down and taken apart, kind of.
Why are y'all taking these pictures? Are y'all calling?
We'll go to the next one. And
The
please
insurance
describe for the
people?
jury
Are you
what's
about to go
depicted
make
here.
a police report?
Just more clothing racks that have been taken down, moved.
Like, share, subscribe, y'all. Thanks for coming on in. Just give my reaction.
Please describe for the jury what's
The
depicted
trial was
here.
on a break. I think they're almost done with their
Same thing.
break.
Just more clothing racks that were toppled
They were on a
over.
break for 45 minutes, but I wanted to go back over Amber's sister's testimony.
Next one.
And it's just.
And this is the kitchen area.
She is corroborating
This is
some of the things that Amber said.
Taken from the mezzanine level that I was
And
describing
also
earlier,
one of
but
the
that
other
looks like
people who had a
broken glass
deposition said.
or something.
But it's
blue
some
ceramic
stuff like,
broken.
okay, you was doing
Okay, and if we
cocaine.
go up,
He was doing
the
cocaine.
top one
Like
there looks
everybody was doing
part of
cocaine.
what was
Like
earlier, let's go to the bottom one. I think we have a bigger picture there. Does that help with
Yes.
what's depicted
I think
there?
the other guy who did a
I still
deposition,
can't tell what it
he
was.
said he
Maybe
wasn't
a plate of
he
some
didn't
sort,
he never
but
used
there's
coke.
also a rolled cigarette, a couple bottles of
Was he a
water.
drinker?
But yeah, whatever that blue thing is, it was
I gotta
broken.
go back to that one.
That's what's all over the kitchen there and also next to the stove.
Okay. Thank you. After the staircase incident, what, if anything, did Mr. Depp ask you to sign?
There was an NDA on my kitchen table.
Can you tell the jury what an NDA is?
It's
I
a
know what
non-disclosure
NDA
agreement. It's basically, my understanding is it's a contract to keep things private, to keep your mouth shut, essentially.
All right. And you were given one or asked to sign one?
I was asked to sign one.
Did you sign?
I don't believe I signed it.
Oh.
I left sometime after.
So you moved out after that?
It was after this point that Johnny had accused me of selling stories to the media, which were absolutely untrue, but I moved out after that point.
Okay. Now, did there come a time that Amber asked you to move back in?
Yes, February.
But I thought at the
2016,
beginning she
had me
said
asking me
that
to
she
come back.
was giving.
And
Okay, well, no, I think
so,
someone's gonna
so
ask
you
a
were
question.
living with her from sometime in February 2016 forward?
I think on and off. I think I had my own apartment by then, but I spent a lot more time at the Eastern after that.
Okay. I'm going to take you to April 21, 2016, Amber's 30th birthday party. Were you present for that?
I was.
Can you please describe to the jury what you observed that night?
It was her 30th birthday, so we wanted to make it, really special. We had made this beautiful dinner, and it was great. All of her close friends were there, and everyone was having a really good time. Everyone was having fun. Johnny showed up very, very late, and he was drunk when he showed up. Amber was obviously upset about it, but there came a time in the party where we all went around the table and said our favorite thing about Amber, just funny memories or whatever. When it came to Johnny's turn, he told this story about how they first met when they met for the Rum Diary. So, he had this story about how she came in to his office and she sat on the couch and
Hey, the front of
her
Charles.
perfect ass left a perfect imprint on the couch, and he wouldn't let anyone sit there after she left that day. And it was one of those stories that everyone was kind of embarrassed. We had all gone around the table saying really nice things about her, and gets to him and he's talking about her ass. We were all.
Why'd you marry this woman, man?
And when did you leave the party that night?
I left pretty shortly after that,
Okay.
and I went home.
What, if any, conversation did you have with Mr. Depp about his plans to attend Coachella the next day?
He was planning on coming to Coachella with us. Whenever at some point we were talking about what was happening the next day, and so that night he told us he was going to come to Coachella with us the next day.
Okay. And did he ultimately come to Coachella with you the next day?
Nope.
Okay. I'm going to jump forward to talk about some statements that were made in the counterclaim. What, if any, observations did you make about how the statements, we're talking about the three statements from that we're quoting Adam Waldman, impacted Amber? And I'm asking for your observations. Just tell the jury what your observations were of how these statements impacted Amber.
Objection, Your Honor. Compound, lack of foundation, speculation.
Overruled.
Thank you.
Oh, it's a new person objecting today. They had the girl that's on the right of her
Amber
objecting
has
yesterday.
worked so hard.
But Amber was doing a
to
lot of lying yesterday, y'all.
overcome
I'm serious. She was doing a lot of lying.
everything that she went through in the duration of their relationship. She
Check
is
out
really, really
the
tried
lead
her
attorney. He did a
best to
short
move
video
past it.
last night, and he talked about
And
how the attorney from yesterday
Anybody
should
that
have
knows
like
Amber
really
at
honed
all
in
knows that some of the most important things
on
to
this
her
one aspect
are
that she
honesty,
said
integrity.
Johnny's
Her
Johnny's
reputation is all
doctor
she
was her
has.
doctor.
She doesn't have piles of money and private
And then later
islands.
on,
or-
she said
Objection,
that
Your
wasn't
Honor.
her doctor.
Non-responsive.
And he said
I abstain the objection.
Camille from
I'm-
yesterday
she
should have
was-
to trap her
she
she-
was
to
devastated.
make the jury know, like,
by
hey,
this.
she's a liar.
She-
She lies for little stuff.
To say that they're not true, it devastated her. And also, we had just buried our mother. So Amber, she started having panic attacks randomly. She was not sleeping.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
These are your observations.
She trying to look
Please
sad.
continue.
These statements devastated her. They devastated her because they weren't true, and they were just very, very, very much affecting her.
You talked about panic attacks. What else did you observe that she would do as a result of these? Physical.
She would just periodically just break into tears. She, I don't know how else to describe it. She was so unwell. She stopped sleeping again. She was super anxious. She couldn't relax. She couldn't sit still. It was very similar to the Amber that I had seen back in 2016 as she was trying to get out of this relationship. It launched her back into this space where she was just so physically unwell, and she cried a lot.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, cross-examination. Good afternoon, Ms. Enriquez. We haven't met before. My name's Rebecca Lecaros. I'm one of the lawyers representing Mr. Depp in this case. You grew up in Texas with your sister and your parents, right?
Wait, she from Texas?
And you were really close with Ms. Heard growing
Oh
up?
my goodness, she's from Texas. She doing all this?
And you're still close now,
We
right?
Texas. We supposed to be
Yeah.
friendly people. We can
And you love
we
her.
supposed to along with
Of
everybody.
course. And your childhood, though, had some
There's
difficult
somebody who
moments, right?
don't know how to season their food.
It wasn't perfect.
Your father hit you and your sister at times, right?
Yes.
Oh Lord,
And
she
your
from
sister would
abusive
protect
household.
you,
He from
from that
abusive
abuse when she
household.
could,
Then
wouldn't
you
she?
two abusive people from abusive
We would
household
protect
people
each
got
other,
together.
for sure.
Y'all don't
And
know
when you
nothing but
graduated from high
abuse.
school, you moved out to Los
Lord, this
Angeles,
is
right?
I did.
this goddamn man train wreck from the beginning.
And your sister gave you a place to live in LA,
Yes.
and she helped support you.
In part, I also was working myself, and
And you're grateful to her for being there when you needed her, right?
of course,
And just like she protected and cared for you, you want to protect and care for her, right?
and when I can, of course, but
You testified to having a great relationship with Mr. Depp when you first started dating your sister, right?
correct.
And you thought of him as a brother.
Yes.
He called you sis,
Yes.
and you had affectionate nicknames for him too, didn't you?
A number of them, yes.
And you testified that for a time you lived in the ECB penthouses with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard.
That's correct.
And Mr. Depp owned those penthouses?
He did.
You didn't pay rent while you were living there, right?
No.
You didn't pay for any of the bills for the penthouses?
No. It's very generous.
And Rocky Pennington lived in one of those penthouses also, right?
She did.
And at some point, her boyfriend Josh Drew moved in, right?
Yes.
And Isaac Baruch lived in one of those penthouses too.
Yes.
And you know that he testified here that you call him your spirit animal, right?
I did not know that, but he's wonderful.
You call him your spirit animal?
At one point I did, yes.
You took trips with your sister and Mr. Depp also, right?
Occasionally.
You didn't pay for those either, right?
Nope. I did not.
During the course of Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard's relationship, you were frequently involved in their arguments, weren't you?
Yes.
In fact, you had a nickname, right?
Marriage counselor.
Yes. You often found yourself mediating disputes between Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard, right?
Clearly not very well, but yes.
And when you were in that role of marriage counselor, you empathized with Mr. Depp, right?
Yes, on occasion.
Because you had a pretty good understanding of what he was going through.
It depended on the situation. Sometimes I could totally see from his perspective. Other times I saw it from her perspective.
Well, you'd been there with Ms. Heard before, right?
We're sisters. Of course we've argued.
And you knew what it was like to want to run away for days and do your own thing and not have Ms. Heard there fighting with you, right?
I think that's kind of taken out of context a little bit. I think more metaphorically. But yes, I have been in arguments with my sister.
And you have wanted to run away for days, right?
Sure.
And not have her there fighting with you.
Sure.
You talked a little bit about the incident in March 2013, right?
Which one?
That was the one before you went to the Keith Richards
Yes.
documentary set? And you were present with Mr. Depp at Orange that day?
I was.
Didn't you do cocaine with Mr. Depp that afternoon?
Yes.
So it just keeps you
said
just
Mr. Depp's
doing
already
cocaine with
intoxicated.
him.
He was by the time I got there.
And he was fighting with your sister?
He wasn't doing much of anything. He was sat at the table. He was telling me about the fight that they had.
So
he
you've
was
been,
kind of
you've been
ignoring.
fighting with your sister that day when you arrived.
That was my understanding.
And you said she had a puffy face.
Yes.
And despite all of that, you decided it was a good idea to do cocaine with Mr. Depp at that
I
juncture?
hadn't yet connected the dots. I hadn't yet understood what that meant or what that would do.
That was a yes? Yes, you took cocaine with Mr. Depp.
I
after all
did.
that?
Yes, I already said that.
You testified that you had suspicions that Mr. Depp was allegedly hitting your sister by some point in 2013, right?
Suspicions.
And notwithstanding that, in June 2013, you were actually joking with Mr. Depp about hitting your sister, right?
Regrettably over a text message, yes.
That you were encouraging him to hit her,
I was not literally encouraging him to hit her.
but you were joking about it.
Regrettably, yes. Again, I did not have an understanding fully of what I was. I never would have said that now, knowing what I know.
But that was around the time that you allegedly became aware that he was.
I don't
there were
know.
Injuries on your sister that caused you to have suspicions.
I don't know if it was around the same time.
Turning to the staircase incident in March 2015, you testified that Mr. Depp allegedly hit you during that incident, right?
Yes.
But you aren't sure if that contact was even meant for you, right?
I honestly don't. I don't know what he was aiming for. My back was to it.
What did your face
And you
feel
weren't
like? Why she
injured
ask what her
during that
face feel
incident,
like?
right?
Did you really get
No,
hit?
I wasn't.
And you didn't seek medical attention.
No,
And you said
Did you
Debbie
get some
Lloyd was
ice?
there during all of that, correct?
she was.
And Mr. Depp's security, Travis McGivern, was there too.
Yes, he was.
And you saw your sister hit Mr. Depp on the stairs that day, right?
After he struck me, yes.
You said she landed one, right? And then the next day, you found some damage in the adjoining penthouse.
Correct.
And we saw some pictures of what you saw that day, right?
Yes.
We thought
So
it
did
was
you take
important
the
to
pictures
document
as
that
revenge for
damage,
him hitting
right?
you or hitting your sister?
Not to document. It was Kevin's job to kind of clean up the houses, take care of the houses. I took pictures just so he could be aware of what he would need to bring. I didn't know if he had tools here or whatever. I was just preparing him for what he was going to have to fix.
But you didn't take any pictures of your sister that day, right?
No, I didn't.
Hey, His Lordship.
Now, after March 2015, you continued to have a close relationship with Mr. Depp, right?
Yes,
And you still loved him,
of course,
and you were there for him if he needed you, right?
of course.
And in fact, just a couple of weeks after that staircase incident, you were still acting as the marriage counselor, weren't you?
At some point, sure.
And that fall, after the staircase incident, October 2015, you claimed you had seen Mr. Depp hitting your sister. And then in October 2015, you were actually still trying to reconcile him and your sister when they were fighting, right?
Yes, I was asked to support. I was just trying to help what I thought they both wanted. I was just trying to support, or trying my best to support them the way that I thought I could.
You still loved Mr. Depp at that point, right?
I did.
And you didn't think that he and your sister were past the point of no return, right?
What I thought was irrelevant at that point. I really, those two were in love and they were working very hard. They wanted to be together, it seemed like. So I just helped as best as I could. I don't know how else to describe it.
Your sister still wanted you with Mr. Depp, right?
She loved him.
And you didn't think they were past the point of no return.
I don't know what you mean by that exactly.
Okay. Let's take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 12 and B3. It's not yet in evidence. We'll just show that to the witness. I've got this. If I might approach, Your Honor, I have this in redacted and unredacted.
Okay, you want to come forward?
His Lordship, the thing is that sister and Amber and other people and their father all did coke with Johnny or drunk with Johnny. So it's like y'all all got like I said, I keep saying this. He shouldn't have married her because one, she's an actress. He has a history of not having a good relationship with actors. It don't work out at the while. Two, she was half his age at the time. Okay. Three, she was a rebound. She was immediately the woman right after he broke off his last relationship, which was 14 years. He should have been going to like a rehab, counseling, having a sober companion and stuff. But Robert Downey Jr. probably can't even talk to Johnny because Johnny is on coke and drinks alcohol. You got to be around sober people. Robert was gonna mess up that Marvel Iron Man chick.
Ms. Enriquez, if I could just direct your attention, if we can go to the third page, please.
Do I have control of this or no?
No, you do not. Sorry,
Oh, okay.
we'll put it up for you. And we can go back to the first page if you'd like, or we can take a look at the unredacted version if we need to. But do you recognize these as text messages that you sent to Mr. Depp on October 2nd, 2015?
Yeah, vaguely. I mean, they're clearly my text messages, but yeah, I recognize them, I think.
Okay. And if we can go to the third page, please, Tom. And you'll see the second blue box from the bottom there. You texted Mr. Depp and you said, I love both of you so much and would fucking stay out of it if I thought this shit were past the point of no return. But that's not where you guys are right now. Did I read that right?
Oh, but that's not where you guys are at. Yes.
So you didn't think they were past the point of no return in October 2015, right?
At that point, clearly I didn't.
Can you take that down?
Oh.
You wanted Ms. Heard to stay with Mr. Depp even after you allegedly saw him hit her, right?
That's really oversimplifying something that's far from simple. Again, Amber was very much in love. So was Johnny. She's telling me that she wants something. Whether or not I agreed to it or not, whether or not I was okay with what was happening, it wasn't my place. If my sister said that she still wanted to be with Johnny and if I could help with that in any way, I was going to support her. I was going to be there for her to support that.
Yeah, you didn't want to contradict your sister, right?
Pardon?
You didn't want to contradict your sister.
I don't know if I'd characterize it that way. I was trying to support my sister the best that I could or knew how, or I thought she wanted.
And you say you wanted to protect her though, right?
At that point, I don't know if I would categorize it as that. I was just trying to support my sister.
You went to Coachella with your sister for her 30th birthday in 2016, right?
Yes.
And you testified that you were aware, I believe that she and Mr. Depp had fought the night before.
Why does she keep showing this out of her face?
Okay, withdrawn.
She put some fillers in her face
Yes, I was
right
aware
there.
that they had argued the night before.
You didn't see any bruises on Miss Heard at Coachella that year though, right?
Yeah, she was wearing a lot of makeup.
You didn't see any marks on her?
Not that I can recall.
Didn't notice any swelling, right?
To the best of my recollection, I don't.
And your sister didn't have a working phone on her that day, did she?
No, she didn't.
But you did?
Yes, it did.
And you wanted Mr. Depp to know that Miss Heard's phone wasn't working, right?
I believe I reached out to him for her, yeah.
And you were encouraging him to reach out to her through you if he was trying to reach her, right?
I believe so at one point, yes.
You didn't want him to think that he was ignoring her.
I'm sorry?
You didn't want him to think that he was ignoring her, right?
Sure.
And you wanted them to reconcile, didn't you?
Amber really wanted him there. Despite the fact that they had had a fight the night before, it was very complicated. It was very nuanced. You know, they fought, they got back together. They fought, they loved each other. They hated each other, they loved each other. I just remember her wanting Johnny to come to Coachella at some point. I wasn't trying to reconcile them. I was just trying to help facilitate.
And you did that even though you were concerned about marks that you say you'd seen on her since at least 2013 and during the course of their relationship, right?
Again, that's really oversimplifying something. We all saw this. We all thought that we would see Johnny on the other end of this. Because again, when he was sober, things were wonderful. When he wasn't sober, they were terrible, sure, but we all thought that he was just going to get better. We all wanted to just see the other side of that. So yes, sure, if you look at it simply, but it's not simple at all. I don't know how else to answer it.
And this was after you allegedly saw him hit her, right?
Yes,
And you knew that they had just had another fight, right?
yes.
Who is she looking at?
You know who Jennifer Howell is, right, Ms. Enriquez?
I do.
She's the founder of the Art of Elysium nonprofit.
She is.
And you worked there for a time, didn't you?
I did.
Around May 2015, you actually moved in with Ms. Howell, right?
May 2015.
As her
yes.
roommate or as her, never mind.
And you moved out of the penthouses because at that point you and your sister were fighting, right?
It was around the time that, he had accused me of leaking stories, and that was the impetus of me leaving.
And you testified earlier, I think, that he had asked you to sign an NDA, right?
At some point.
And that was around the same time that he was concerned you were leaking stories about their wedding to the media?
I believe so.
You and Ms. Howell were close?
We were.
Close enough that you lived with her for around a year?
I don't recall if it was that long.
And you confided
I think we have
in
about
Ms.
5 or
Howell,
10 moments on her
Thought some
testimony.
things, yes. She was my friend.
right? You called her your chosen sister? Ms. Enriquez, you claim to have seen signs of injuries on your sister during the course of her relationship with Mr. Depp, right?
Yes.
But you never witnessed any incidents that resulted in visible injuries to your sister, right?
Other than the staircase incident? I witnessed that incident. What are you asking me exactly?
You never witnessed any incidents that resulted in signs of injury that you were concerned about over the course of the relationship?
Other than the staircase incident, I did witness that.
No, at no other time when you...
No, that was the only time that I saw him.
And you didn't see what caused any of the injuries you claim to have seen during the course of their relationship, right? Other than the staircase incident.
Yeah, staircase incident is the only one that I saw.
But you have seen your sister land a blow on Mr. Depp, right?
That was the time, yes, after he hit me.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right,
I
redirect.
have no redirect.
All right, is this witness subject to recall?
No, she may be.
Is subject to recall? No? Okay, all right, ma'am, you are free to go, or you can stay in the courtroom. It's up to you, okay? Thank you.
Oh, it was less than 5 minutes.
All right,
Our next witness, Your Honor, is another deposition designation.
okay.
Okay, y'all. Hey, everybody. Yeah. So I was just looking at the reason why I wanted to see her testimony from the beginning is because that last 5 minutes is what I walked in on, and I thought it was going to be more, and it wasn't. I was like, I wanted to see what all her testimony was. Overall, I felt like she did corroborate, like, when Amber talked about him, she hit him for the first time because she thought he was gonna hit her sister, and the dog incident. She did corroborate with the other deposition witness that there was drugs being used by Johnny, right? But she actually is telling us Johnny was doing a whole lot of drugs and alcohol. But her sister, she was, the daddy was, and other folks was too. And I'm just like, okay, so Johnny's mixed up, shouldn't be with your sister. Your sister shouldn't be with him. But guess what? Johnny has the money. Johnny has homes. Johnny got a really supply of cocaine that y'all like to snort. I'm just like, so y'all were willing to go through the ups and downs. Cause she's over here like the lady said, oh, you're over here kind of being a marriage counselor. She was. I really think she was too involved. Like, what? No. So, all right. So, yeah, I'm just, Johnny. And both from toxic households, they should have never dated, should have never got married. I'm so happy they didn't have no children with each other. And I'm to pray for Amber Rose's little girl she adopted, because baby, your mama's a narcissist. And she got borderline personality disorder and a side of histrionics disorder, like the psychiatrist said. Poor child. Gotta put her on a prayer list. There are toxic females out there. Just like toxic men. Exactly, money to burn. Exactly. Like y'all should just pass by each other. Just, hey, how you doing? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. But yeah, I gotta go. Thank y'all so much for listening to me, here at the school. So, but yeah, this was like, ooh, just, no, no, just Johnny. I hope you learned the lesson. You see what they got divorced they were married 2 years. I think 2015 and 2017. It is 2022 and he is still dealing with this. What is the moral of the story? Do not date married people who have a similar toxic family background as you. And don't date or marry nobody after you done got a relationship. Goodness. Where she was. Okay, that was after school announcements. So, but this is finals week, you know. So, for the seniors anyway. Whew, okay, y'all. It's time for me to go. Thank you so much. For those of you who've been with me the whole time, those of you just came in, please catch the replay. And y'all tell me in the comments, please leave a comment. Please like, share, subscribe. Okay, tell your friend about it. Let me know if you want me to do some more of these reactions to the testimony. I really should have started the beginning, but I really didn't have time then. But I just kind of wanted to know what the sister had to say about everything. I probably need to go back and look at Johnny's sister's testimony too. So, but yeah, I know Johnny got problems, but he married the wrong one. Married the wrong one. So, all right, y'all have a good rest of y'all day. I'll see y'all in somebody's chat. Oh, if you have time tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, join me on my friend Dara Moore's channel. Okay, y'all gonna have a good time. It's about some people in the Black church sector. Uh, okay. I am, there's a reminder I have set. Hopefully I'm awake. I might have to go take a nap when I get home. Spotum is supposed to come on tonight, late night. But he said he never really goes live when he says he's gonna go live. So I'm hoping he's gonna go earlier, but he's gonna go live tonight as well. So talk to y'all later. Bye.